Welcome back to Sunday Live. Our comprehensive coverage of the coronavirus continues. In the studio here, we have two folks. Frank Asira on the far left has 3 children studying in China, one in Wuhan City. And right next to him, Rebecca Ndirango has a sister in Wuhan City. Folks, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate your time. You know, you're very concerned at this point as a parent, as a sibling.
Right.
Let me ask you first, Rebecca, when's the last time you spoke to your sister?
I spoke to her about an hour ago. Yes, and she's fine. She's trying to keep calm despite the virus. She's saying that there are more measures. The lockdown is much more stricter than it was at the beginning. They are running short of supplies like food. They are being advised to take food once a day because there are no supplies. They have sick colleagues inside the university who do not have medical attention. Like for example, she was telling me there is a pregnant lady who hasn't accessed medical help, and she's not due, and she has pains. She has constant pains, but because the city is under lockdown,
Is she Kenyan?
Yeah, she's Kenyan.
Lady,
yeah, she's Kenyan. So basically, the mental torture that they have to undergo, is one can only take in too much.
And Franklin, you have 3 kids in China.
Yes, I do.
Your daughter is in Wuhan.
My daughter is in Wuhan. You know, my 3 kids are on private sponsorship, so they don't even live in a college. They live in private spaces.
Right.
And some of the challenges that scholarship students have are a little bit, I would say, easier than what my kids would have. The other 2, one is in northern part of China, Shenyang. That's a little bit far from Wuhan. The second boy is somewhere around Linhai, which is around 150 kilometers or so from Wuhan. He was due to return to Wuhan after attachment. But Wuhan got locked down just about a day before he got back. That's how he escaped the lockdown.
How's your daughter doing?
She's fine, she's strong. They have hope. They don't feel like they want to come out of China because they think they can wait out this virus for another 2 months and sit their final exams and graduate in July.
And if they don't?
We cannot tell them the news that we get from the rest of the global media because the hope they have keeps them strong to deal with every single day as it is. If we got to tell them what we know at this moment, they will despair. It would be we would have a different problem in our hands.
And of course, for you, what would be the ideal is getting them back on Kenyan soil. What efforts have you been engaging in to try and facilitate that?
First and foremost, let me just say that as long as we are looking at our ability to move them out of China, that would be, we're standing at a place whereby that is impossible. We're at a stage whereby if the government didn't move in to evacuate, there is nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Like I said, I have a lot of friends in China, some in places of authority. And I have talked to every last one of them. And they have engaged everybody that they can. The lockdown in Wuhan is firm. It is understandable. It is the basic thing that you do if you want to control the spread of a communicable disease and stem a pandemic. So when they come back to me and they tell me it's impossible, but there's just a little window that has been left open that governments can lift their people from Wuhan if those flights are going to land directly outside China. It is the only room that is open, and that window, I believe, is closing fast.
It is closing fast. Rebecca, you said that your sister is staying at a botanical gardens, is that it?
Yes.
With Kenyan students as well.
Yes.
Now, explain to our viewers out there, they're running short of supplies.
Yes.
How do they order? How do they get the supplies? How often do they pay for them?
Yes.
Go on.
Okay, so they received on around 18th February, the Kenyan government sent them 1,000 RMB, that is equivalent to around 13,000 Kenya shillings. To help
each
to help them with supplies.
Okay.
But you see, the problem was that these supplies are scarce. They need to write a requisition 1 week before they need the supplies, including food. 1 week. Sometimes they are told to order in groups, which becomes a little bit hard. That is how they are getting their supplies. And then the person who is delivering them to Wuhan drops them at the gate. Then they are brought in by the people manning the gates, because the gate is being manned so that you cannot come out. So basically that is how they are getting access to food, getting access to supplies. If they want something delivered, they have to pay. Sometimes they have to pay more than the initial cost of the good, because you can imagine if there is no it's the law of demand and supply. When there's nobody who is willing to deliver things to Wuhan, so the delivery cost will be extremely high.
And what about non-food items, essential items like sanitary towels, for instance? How are those things being moved?
It's the same. They are being moved, delivery from other cities. It's the same way. So they have to wait.
So beyond the funding they've gotten from the Kenyan government, what other assistance have the Kenyan students gotten?
The Kenyans, what they are communicating, the Kenyan students, is that the embassy has been a little bit silent, because from the Kenyan embassy, that is, because from 18th, after they sent the money, the next thing they've done is the letter they sent yesterday, on Friday, that is 28th February. That is the letter they sent to them, and told them that they are still in their thoughts and prayers. They also told them that the Chinese embassy in Nairobi has sent them some biscuits, coffee, juice, nuts, as food supplies to them, which they appreciate. Yes, so that is the communication they've been receiving. But the embassy is also saying, when we watch the news from this side, that they are giving them, they are in constant communication with them.
Right.
But the news that we have from Wuhan Botanical Gardens is that they've not gotten in touch. Specifically, my sister, they've not gotten in touch with her. So they are wondering which are these students that they are saying they've been communicating with.
Frank, is your daughter at Botanical Gardens?
No. She stays in a private block. The control for people that are accessing the block is also very strict.
Okay.
When all these things started, late January, we sent her a little bit of money. She managed to put together, to stock enough stuff that she could use for some 30 to 40 days. I'm saying for 30 to 40 days, my daughter has not left her room. She cannot leave her room. It has changed now. The controls are a little bit tighter. Now they cannot go out even if they wanted to. They would order their food, and somebody would come, properly masked like it was a doctor. They will be inspected at the gate. They will be inspected at the entrance of the building before they deliver the food. It's supposed to inspire a little bit of confidence in us, but we are there. We're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yes, she's okay for the time being, for us, as long as we can we can say.
You know, it's difficult to think having one child in China in a time like this. You have 3. You must be very worried.
Worry doesn't even start to describe it, Jeff. I wouldn't even at this stage make it about our children in China. They are the ones who started this conversation. The issue of COVID-19 is one that requires us to begin to talk about the fact that if China was the epicenter, now we have 4. Our children can come back, but we have populations also in other places that are high-risk areas.
Right.
The government needs to show a little bit of concern. The children, because we are insulating them from every news that we're getting from outside, especially from World Health Organization, they would really think it's a small thing, that maybe by July they will graduate.
Right.
But there's nobody today who can give me a guarantee that my kids will graduate in July, or say September, or December, or next year, or ever for that matter. There's nobody who can guarantee me today that while they're waiting for July, that my kids won't contract the COVID-19 virus.
So you said you've reached out to contacts in China, you've reached out to contacts here as well, you've used your own resources. Do you feel let down at all by the government in terms of trying to at least help fill the gap in areas you can't?
I can understand that the government machinery works very, very slow. But this is a life and death matter. slow cannot be excused. We are saying the children, we insulate them so that they will have strength to live from day to day. But it is the responsibility of the government to step in and evacuate. If you have visitors in your house and your children, and something that is life-threatening happened there, your primary concern will be your children. The visitor becomes dispensable,
right,
expendable. This is the reason why governments have lifted people from the epicenters of coronavirus. This is the only way a government is supposed to think. Because otherwise we are looking at ourselves like, is it because mine were private? But they live amongst those that are on scholarships, and they are going through the same things. The government just needs to step up and do something that we, parents, will feel like we actually are Kenyans.
When our ambassador over there says we need to start praying, and our Foreign Affairs Department, well, they're not saying that much. Do you feel let down by them?
They take the instructions from Nairobi. On their own, they may not be able to do anything. I have reached out to those that I make contacts with at our embassy, and I see their hands are tied. The decisions are taken from here. And Jeff, I think our government is treating COVID-19 like it was just a common flu, something that will pass, just a bad dream. I think the full import of what is going on the international arena about COVID-19 is not yet fully understood by our government. Otherwise, we would not be doing this. We would not be having this conversation here.
I have to ask this to both of you. Should the lockdown persist, what would be your next course of action? Because, of course, you want to see your sister again.
Yes. I don't know what will be the next course of action, because right now it's under total lockdown. Yeah. We cannot, if we had the ability as siblings, as parents, to get our children out of there, our sisters and brothers, we would. But now the window is narrowing down. Right now the lockdown is there. Only the government can get those citizens out of there. So if it were to persist, if the lockdown was to persist, it will be so unfortunate for us, because we are running out of options, we are running out of time.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, Victoria, there's really nothing anybody can do if the government doesn't move.
Yeah. Yes.
It is a lockdown, the window is provided for the government. There's no individual who can walk in there and do anything. Yes. So it is really that the government will have to do something, or really we just call it a day, we're done. We're done in 4.
We're putting pressure from this side, on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to do something at least from here.
Yes.
Petitioning them, I'm sure you've already communicated with them several times.
Yes, we have handed a letter to them.
Yeah.
We have been to the Ministry of Interior, and it's just that. We don't have any response from them. We hoped that they will allow us in and talk to us, feel us, but we didn't get that opportunity.
Do you have any other kids, Frank, other than the 3?
I have 2 more kids here. That is my son around here. He drove me here because he didn't believe I could actually drive up here.
Good man.
The 2 other kids are here in college.
Okay.
Yes.
And Rebecca, your parents,
yes,
what do they think of what's happening to their girl out there?
We were with them yesterday, actually, and although they're trying to stay strong, you can feel the pain. Yeah. When they talk, you can see their scared faces, but they're trying to keep the faith. They're trying to communicate with her every day to tell her everything will be okay. But of course, as a parent, having sent your child to China and then having her face a life-threatening condition, it's not easy. I can assure you, it's not easy. Yes.
Not easy at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And final words, if they happen to be watching this,
yes,
what would you want to tell them?
The government? Oh, okay. For the government, we appreciate the efforts that you're trying to tell us. Earlier today, the government said that they've released 10 million for the Kenyan students in Wuhan, plus the earlier money that they had sent. But that is for, but we feel, from a personal perspective, I feel that that is not enough. what about you channel this 10 million to at least evacuate these citizens, just bring them back here. They are ready to be quarantined for 14 days, as long as it takes, so long as they are home. You see, when we continue keeping them there, even if they don't get the COVID-19, we might be looking at other tougher disorders, depression, anxiety disorders. So before we have these healthy citizens turn into something we do not want them to turn into, kindly evacuate our citizens, bring our loved ones back home. Yes.
Frank, you get the last word.
Jeff, I'd like to say thank you to the government for showing interest in giving our children some money. But all said and done, they may have that money and not have anything to buy with it. It's not time that money can be actually very practical to them. I'd just like to think from this point of view, just the way China locked down Wuhan to control the spread of the virus. I plead with the government to take a break from their regular political and power playing programming and pay just a little bit more attention to COVID-19. It is not our regular cup of tea. Here in China, anywhere else where we actually are looking at epicenters of the COVID virus, COVID is not Chinese. We are not discriminating against Chinese. We're just saying, pay a little bit more attention. Planes from the epicenters of this virus, be it China, Italy, Iran, Korea, we need to pay a little bit more attention to this. Our Kenyans that are outside, that are about to be caught up forever in these death traps, they need to be home whereby we can give them first-hand, first-class attention. It should not be something we are discussing about.
Frank Asira, we feel for you, and we hope everything turns out well. Rebecca Dirango, you too. All the very best to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and telling us your stories. Okay. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, powerful stuff, folks. Powerful stuff. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk to Bernard Ndong.
That's right. Update on sporting activities and how Corona has affected that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Keep tweeting at Koinangajet.
At Vicky Rubin.